Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gore Column, in which we take the time to speak to small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, Bernard Tourillon. He's back, CEO of HPQ Silicon. And for those new to the story, here's what you need to know about the company. First, silicon is the second most abundant element on the planet, but silicon metal manufacturing is currently the largest emitter of CO2 among metals and non-ferrous metals on a per ton basis. So the renewable energy revolution and the paradigm shift towards electric vehicles is going to require better processes over the entire battery metal supply chain, especially the production of silicon, which has not been improved in over 100 years. HPQ is a cutting-edge Canadian producer of high-purity silicon metal and special silicon products at significantly reduced costs, energy usage, and carbon footprint, and more than just lip service. They got a number of NDAs to back that up. The news, though, we're talking about today is not a technical press release. In fact, they've recruited a former senior executive from a major global silicon metal producer as their senior consulting engineer. Bernard, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
Usually, get that glass of water. You could have gone through my introduction. Now you get the.
I gotta take you off your game.
Usually, we're discussing happily advances in the tech process, in the reactors, all that thing, which is great. But it's nice to change it up a little bit now to see someone added to the team and someone of great consequence. You're not just adding George to the team. What's the piece that Dr. Rivat fills in the puzzle going forward for HPQ?
I think I've said it many times that one of the big issue with silicone manufacturing is the lack of people with expertise. It's one. So we get access to somebody with that was at the senior level, one of our competitor, if you can say it, and basically was there and saw a lot of the technology improvement. So he brings to us that knowledge and that expertise. But even before that, he used to work for what's called an OEM, an original equipment manufacturers, for the equipments that are being used in the industry, in the metallurgy industry. So it's a very specialized expertise that we get to work with us. That's going to help us, gain time in advanced situation because he's experiences these issues. So it's a great and important addition. In my presentation, I said in the battery space, I wanted at one point to have somebody very senior to come and help us build that out, and it's just moving forward with that.
What signal does this send to the industry that someone of his qualifications is joining HPQ? Because I'm assuming he has no shortage of options in the industry, and he's joining HPQ.
Well, it's mostly we sort of got him into his pre-retirement that the company put him into, and he still has goals that he wants to achieve and things he wants to do in the industry. And how can I say this? The philosophy of HPQ and how we're looking at developing our technology matches very well with what his goal is. And also there's some objective that he was not able to accomplish at the other organization because the other organization was very focused on one thing and didn't want to go forward, while we have a very holistic view of what we're doing in the silicone industry, and we understand very well where we fit in and where we want to go in the high value materials. So that's an incredible advantage for us to have.
I know you can't speak for Dr. Rivat, but I think it goes without saying, or I'm going to ask you anyways. I know you can't put words in his mouth, but safe to assume that he's obviously, very excited about what HPQ is doing, how you're positioned, and the plan moving forward.
Yes, there's no reason for him for him to come and join us. If it was going to be a slug, there's no real reason. It's really because he sees in what we're doing, HPQ, Novation, our vision, the completely paradigm shift that we're bringing forward in manufacturing silicone metal. That's really comes into it. And what's really interesting is he's a guy that has, established and set up at many plants the rapid solidification process that we mentioned we filed a patent about not long ago. So, that's going to be a much easier step for us to put forward. And that basically means that, let's say, we've produced 99.9, I believe, 2 silicone, because 3N plus SI. And with that technology, we know we make 4N without any issue. So he has the expertise for help us to guide us as we do this. So it's all part of the grand scheme of HPQ valorizing and developing its verticalities, more specifically our silicone verticalities right now.
Facebook, Meta, recently launched Threads, which is a competitor to Twitter, and they did it by hiring on some ex-Twitter engineers, and Elon Musk threatened to sue Facebook for trade secrets and that kind of thing, saying, hey, you took our engineers and they're using our trade secrets. Are there any limitations to what Dr. Rivat can help HPQ Silicon with?
No. Well, probably, if it's patented technologies, those type of systems, but there is none. It's an unfortunate situation that led him to being available, but because of that unfortunate situation, the party letting him go could not make him sign any non-disclosure, non-compete. So it's an incredible advantage. And the other person that we know there that are also part of our pool of people that we can connect to, their non-compete, non-disclose have lapsed. So we have access to a big pool of information of capacity in the silicone industry. So that verticality silicone is there, and it'll be very helpful.
For the FUD guys, by the way, online, who sometimes, have no shortage of criticism for the George and Bernard show, is there a chance that we can have Dr. Rivat on an interview in the near future or sometime before the end of 2023? Because I'm sure investors would love an opportunity to hear from him as well.
Yeah, but probably there'll be a chance for that. There'll also be a chance to have talk to the CEO of Novasium. I'll make them available for interviews, but right now we're much more focused on making the stuff and getting the things moving. That's really what our focus is. We believe we have an incredible value proposition with HPQ, one that is not adequately reflected in the share price right now. I understand that. But I think now for us is the time to start moving forward. As I said in the press release, I wouldn't be hiring somebody to come and help us start the commercialization of our technologies if I didn't know that we're moving forward. The question people have to ask themselves is, who knows more about what's going on in HPQ, me or the FUDs? I think the answer is pretty straight. So if I'm starting to talk about commercialization of the technologies, we're presenting how we're going to do it for the silicone industry. It's because I'm very comfortable where we are, where we're moving. I am not comfortable where the share price is, but as I said many times, the company and the share price are not the same. But the fact that we can now start talking about starting to market or commercialization is going to be forward. The reality is, when we're going to go meet institutional investors to start looking at financing the next big step, once we have all the numbers lined up, having a guy like Mr. Rivat in our team is going to play a lot on the story, because somebody's always going to ask, do you guys have any really experience with silicone manufacturing at industrial scale? He does.
And you said a couple of things. You almost stole my thunder. You talk about your new focus and commercial. I want to use the quote: Dr. Rivat represents a major asset to HPQ as we prepare to enter our next phase of development, focus on the commercial deployment of our technologies. That's got to be, I know that's still up for me. That's got to be music to the ears of most shareholders. Let's talk a little bit about that, because there are two things you specifically said. Phase one here, to provide industry, I'm reading quote, to provide industry buyers with silicon-based material for anodes that meets their needs by the end of 2023. So you talk about 5 months from now, or within 5 months from now. Is that Do you have a target list? I'm sure there must be some people that are on there because of all the NDAs you signed, but is there a target list and of people waiting? And are you also going to proactively try to add people to that list by being a little more aggressive and going out to the commercial space?
I think we would be proactive to go into commercial space, but our goal will be to make material and basically advertise and say what it is done. We've already mentioned and we've already delivered some samples that we make micron size silicone material, that we've done this. We've also mentioned in our press release that we're working with the guys at Innovation to see how we can improve that material, looking at improving that material. And that's something that we're working on as we speak. It's moving forward. We get requests for materials from different companies, and we started sending it, but it's no more something material. It's part of our ongoing normal business. So it's like, okay. Like the material for we mentioned that we send material for a high value company, high value material company. I think it's the term we use. And we're having back and forth exchanges and trying to figure out how we can, what they're exactly looking for and how we can meet that. And that's all part of what we're doing right now. So, we're going to make the material for the battery space. We're going to be lining up to have a production capacity to start, doing material. We have a good idea what the material is. We have a good idea where we have an incredible opportunity. And we're going to keep working at it. We're going to be a bit more discreet than we were before. And we're going to wait until we have the good results to start announcing it.
Since you mention it, how as much as you can, because I know you can't say a lot, but how is things going with the sample sent to the high value materials company? Is there any comment you can give us? Is it?
No, I can't really comment back and forth about this, because then it becomes, an exchange of tick for tack. The key point is we now have sampled materials. So when I have requests from companies that are sending us, want some material from us, and we said, okay. And then I send it to the guys at Innovation, and then we get that moving. So we started to get that pretty well lined up. Now with Mr. Rivat, we're going to be able to line up, okay, how are we going to manufacture the 200 tons to do it? I know some people are asking ourselves, where are you going to get the silicone for it? But I think I've already answered that question, but I'll repeat it. There is ways for us to get some silicone from our QRR. There'll be a part of it coming from our material that we will do. So we'll be able to say, this is really our battery material, our silicone anode material for batteries. But in the meantime, because there's not a big differentiation between a silicone, a 4N silicone and another 4N silicone, other than its carbon footprint. So at this stage, we know how to take that material, traditional available in the industry material, and make it into battery material, and then convert it into what we're looking for. So that's not a big issue for us. But as I said in the press release, our fundamental goal is by the time we're ready to go, full Monty commercial with the Gen 4, we will probably be our own biggest offtake manufacturer. But the battery side will have sign off that with other big players. But that's sort of how it works. It advances.
The other statement you made was, and you touched on it there, plan to commission the first production line capable of manufacturing 200 tons by the end of 2024. Now you spoke to that, but what I want to add to that is I'm reading between the lines, and it seems like you're pretty confident that the providing industrial buyers with materials and for anodes and samples, all that, you're pretty confident that you're gonna. Should we be reading between the lines with that your level of confidence that you're already saying, hey, by 2024 we're going to be capable of manufacturing 200 tons per year?
We're very confident that we're going there, and what we're saying isn't very different from what other people are playing. Where we have a unique differentiation, what's going to differentiate us from all the other ones in the industry is eventually our feedstock will be our own green silicone. So our material will be carbon neutral or carbon zero. So that's where we have a differentiation. The market, as I presented the numbers and the values of the numbers, are the estimate for the size of the market are all over. Like I got one estimate. What's the number?
I
One
think there's
estimate,
25
one
billion and
estimate at 15
130
billion, the other one's 100 billion. It's like, it's true, but I understand where the price variation plays. Companies like Scylla, yeah, I showed that in my presentation. Company like Scylla uses saline gas process. Okay, I think their cost of making the material is over $110 a kilogram. Okay, that's way too expensive for the traditional mass market EV manufacturer. Okay, so we're going to be in a lower cost bracket, but still a lot of money to do it. So say we buy our silicone at 3,000-4,000, which is like it's 6,000. We paid for it 6,000, and then we convert it into a higher value material. But eventually, at one point, it'll be our own silicone. We'll go down to 2,000 buying price. But the markups are so massive at the beginning, because what's going to happen over time is that the markup will go down, and we know that. So this is where we're really focused on that, and we also have the great advantage of not being dependent.
Was there any reaction? I was just taking notes while you're talking. It might be early, but one of your recent press releases, how we're going to be carbon zero, carbon neutral, carbon zero. Was there any reaction from the marketplace or existing partners, the existing companies under NDA about that revelation?
Not yet, but it took time. If you look at the fume silica, we're doing about almost the same type of massive carbon reduction. It led us to a very interesting NDA and a project that's moving very well. So it's like it's not as instantaneous as I would love, but it's building. We're building a very strong foundation as we move forward.
The macro side, you talk about a major trend in the lithium battery industry is the introduction of small amounts of silicon oxide into graphite composite electrodes. That's because pure graphite anodes have essentially achieved their maximum performance. Turns out you're right about that reality, because that was something you started talking about a couple of years ago, correct? And here we are. How big of a boost is that? How big of a catalyst is that?
Well, if you guys want to have an idea of the size of the market, just look at the size of the graphite market in the projection there, okay, and multiply 7 to, between 7 and 10% of that will become silicone. Then you have an idea of what big we're talking about. What you have to do is you have to make a material that is going to work with the batteries, with the other graphite, and blend pretty well into it. But that we feel very confident that we're on the right track for that.
We're sitting here in the middle of July, and a lot of companies almost take a break at this time, but you're not, because you're in the middle of developing a process and everything you're doing. What's next? How busy should we expect you to be in the next couple months, at least until Labor Day, next month and a half? How fast are things moving at HPQ?
They're moving at a good pace, at a good click. Like, of course, naturally there'll be some vacations on the staff, not me, but there'll be vacations. So I'm probably also going to take a vacation, because can't always be working. But the things are lining up very, very well for us on all the verticalities. I'm pretty excited that I'll be able to start talking more about our third verticalities, which I have not done till now, which is the hydrogen one. But I feel comfortable where we are, the silicone development business, the fume silica business, very comfortable. I feel very comfortable where we're going with the battery side of the business. So it will eventually reflect itself in the value of the company. And that's the only thing I can do, is to keep advancing the project and moving forward. I feel very secured in what we're doing and what we're advancing. I'm as frustrated as everybody about the share price, but I feel confident that we have a great story that will start to be understood more. I understand there's a bit of complexity with regard to our three verticalities, but I think now we've actually managed to make the story very focused. Silicon, very focused, and silicon for batteries are on offtake. Fume silica, very focused, producing samples, and then being able to go industrial with that technology. And the hydrogen one, well, I'll start talking more about that one pretty soon.
Well, in the meantime, Bernard, congratulations on this press release. This is a nice change of pace, adding Dr. Rivat as senior consulting engineer. I think that was a major step and a nice change from the tech updates we get, because I'll always say it that, you know, deep down, look, we all have the confidence, we all have the faith, no reason to believe anything isn't what you're telling us, but it's always nice to see someone of Dr. Rivat's expertise and the qualifications and history come join the team. And for me, that was great when I saw that this morning. Congratulations on that, and can't wait to have you back, my friend.
Thank you.
To anybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening to my podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform. To Bernard Tourillon, he's a CEO at HPQ Silicon, trades in Canada under HPQ for French in the US, HPQFF. For those new to the story and want to do your due diligence, get to the company's profile page on Agoracom first, because that's where we got the layman's version of the story there for you to get your information. And then head over to the company's website to your deep dive due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.